it's safe to say that I've done a lot of driving over the years. I first got my license back in 1998, and I was actually driving before that, being shown how by my father around a lot of the back roads where we used to live at the time. I've driven through towns, villages, cities as big as Toronto. I've driven across the border. I've been on almost every highway you can think of, concession, residential neighborhoods. I've driven pretty much everywhere. I've owned 8 vehicles and driven hundreds more. I've logged more time in my car over the years than most places. I'm someone that enjoys driving. I love the experience of driving. Driving to me is not so much just freedom, but it's a thing in itself. And that being said, one of the facets of driving that has perplexed me since day one has been elderly drivers, no matter what time period we're in. Elderly drivers are a huge problem. And one would think, in rational terms, that if you are elderly and your skills and your response times in general are diminishing and you can no longer handle the rigors of driving, you can't make the split-second decisions, you've slowed down, would it not make sense to step away and admit that you are a safety hazard on wheels and that you should probably take a bus or a senior trolley? Now, I understand for a lot of seniors and elderly that driving is one of their last forms of independence that lets them go places. But that being said, they need to look at the big picture. There are a lot of dangerous elderly people on the road. There are a lot of safe ones as well that I've seen, but most of them are hazards. It's easy for them to complain that young people are the problem, and I agree with that to a certain extent. Young drivers are a huge problem these days, especially with distracted driving in terms of cell phones. Young people can't seem to put down their goddamn cell phones when they're driving, but elderly people are a far bigger hazard. For example, if they're not going slow, they're suddenly turning right or left without warning, or you get the other flip of the coin where they have their signal on for kilometers upon kilometers and they don't even know it. Or they'll miss their turn somewhere and they've noticed they've missed their turn, and the first thing they do is they come to a complete and utter stop in the middle of a road and almost take out everyone else in the process. I've seen some elderly people not even notice a stop sign or a red light, and they keep going, not even looking left or right anywhere. They are completely oblivious to everything else going around them, and that is dangerous. Just in my own personal experiences in the last few years, and I'm someone that loves my car to pieces, both the one I had for 6 years before I got my current vehicle, which was my Volkswagen Jetta, and to have so many close calls and almost been creamed because of elderly drivers, this is getting to be a bit too much. Not to mention some of them that do these random lane changes, and in some cases when this happens, they flip you off or they start yelling at you like you did something wrong, even though they don't know what the hell they're doing. Their whole thing behind the wheel is, I get in, I look straight ahead, hit the gas pedal and hope for the best. There's not enough enforcement of the laws in terms of them either. And the test that they have to pass when they reach a certain age is a joke. There's nothing in car that they have to pass. They just write a quick test at the ministry, it gets stamped, and they're back on the road. Really? What is this saying about our system? Time and again, we've seen elderly people cause some really bad accidents, mowing down little kids in a driveway. We've seen elderly people step on the gas thinking it's the brakes. They crash into a store. I've worked at a place where that's happened, where 2 elderly people in a car thought it was the gas and they just plowed right through the front door of the store. Thank God nobody was hurt. We were all quite startled. This happens more often than people think, and nothing ever seems to be done about it. The ministry doesn't seem to care. The police don't seem to care until after the fact. There was even an instance, I believe, in Europe where an elderly woman stepped on the gas without even knowing it, and I think she killed 5 or 6 people at a market or something, and then crashed into a store at the end of that. Like, it's out of control, and you would think that at their age there would be no arrogance to in terms of, oh, I can keep driving, I'm fine. instead of maybe I should take a look at myself and what's going on around me. And if I'm this slow outside of the car, maybe I shouldn't get inside of the car anymore. I understand the independence aspect, but you are all hazards. There are means of getting around. You can take Ubers, taxis, transit. I know transit's not good in some places, but at least there are a lot more options nowadays than there ever used to be. And I think it's time that we as a society took a long, hard look at elderly drivers and got a lot of them off the road before it's too late. That's just my 2 cents, mainly because of what I've seen over the years, especially when I was still driving Uber Eats and having to get to and from restaurants all over town. And we have a large abundance of elderly and seniors in this city, and oh boy, does it cause problems in more ways than one. But driving is by far the worst. If you have an elderly family member and you see that their skills are diminishing, you should probably have a talk with them about this, because they will become a hazard if they're not one already. I've been through it with a family member. I know what it's like. It's not good. Have a great day, everybody.